What was inside this pyramid, standing 480 feet above the ground and 4,500 years old, that researchers sent a robot with a camera into it just to see? At one point, the robotic camera stopped because a stone slab blocked its way. Researchers believed that behind this slab there must be a secret hidden for the past 4,500 years. They were determined to uncover it at any cost. So they attached a drilling machine to the robot, which drilled a hole into the stone slab. Then a camera was inserted through the hole, and what it saw on the other side was something no one had seen in 4,500 years. Welcome once again to our exploration. In Egypt, a total of 138 tall pyramids exist. For thousands of years, they have withstood dozens of earthquakes and many dangerous storms, yet not a single one has shifted even slightly. Among them, the tallest and largest is called the Great Pyramid of Giza. Its base covers an area of 31 acres, so large that 9 football fields could fit inside its footprint. According to estimates, about 2.3 million huge stones were used in its construction, some weighing as much as 50 tons. If we estimate the total weight, the Great Pyramid weighs around 6 million tons, equivalent to the weight of 12 Burj Khalifa towers. But despite being so tall and magnificent, what was the real purpose behind building these pyramids? Thousands of years ago, when humans did not even have proper tools, how were the walls of these pyramids levelled inch by inch? How were 50-ton stones cut into perfect square shapes and, without cranes, lifted up to a height of 480 feet? And which engineers were involved who made the pyramids not only earthquake-proof, but also set all their sides at exactly a 51.5-degree angle? You will learn all of this in today's video, so let's begin. Challenge number 1. For centuries, different research teams have tried to figure out the construction techniques of the pyramid. One of the biggest puzzles was, how were all 4 sides of the pyramid aligned exactly to the north, south, east and west, without any compass? Many experts believe that the architects of that time first searched for land strong enough to hold millions of tons of stone. After that, they used polar stars, the stars that help determine the Earth's poles, to mark each side of the pyramid. No compass, no optical instruments, just this basic technique was used thousands of years ago to align the pyramid with perfect precision. Challenge number 2. The next challenge was levelling the ground. The 13-acre land on which the pyramid was to be built had to be perfectly level. Even a slight imbalance would have made it impossible for a structure made of 2.3 million stones to stand upright. To level this land, the engineers of that time had neither laser levelers nor modern tools. Experts believe that they might have placed walls or boundaries on all 4 sides of the construction site and then filled them with water. By matching the water level on one side with the water level on the other sides, they could identify which portions of the land were uneven. The parts of the ground that did not match the water level were then cut and flattened using chisels and hammers. Many experts also believe that the ancient builders used a simple levelling tool made of 2 wooden arms with a rope tied exactly at the centre, holding a stone weight. If the stone touched the marker and the rope aligned perfectly in the centre, it meant that the ground below was level. Challenge number 3. Now the pyramid's direction had been set, the markings were done, and the land was perfectly levelled. The next step was beginning construction, which required massive stones weighing several tons. But the builders had no grinders, no modern cutters, and no chainsaws. Even then, they managed to cut stones weighing 50 tons and shape them into squares and rectangles. But how? Yes, this was done with the help of just one type of plant. Experts believe that the chisels used in pyramid construction were not made purely of copper. The builders knew copper is soft and cannot cut stone. That is why a chemical and arsenic were mixed with the copper. The chisels made from this copper-arsenic alloy were struck against the stones using wooden hammers. After many hours of labour, huge stones were finally shaped. Challenge number 4. Now, the special type of stone we call limestone was being cut not near the pyramid site, but in the city of Tura, which is about 250 kilometres from Giza. The problem now was how to transport these stones. Each stone weighed 50 tonnes, that is 50,000 kilograms, almost equal to the weight of 3 passenger buses, and millions of such stones were needed for just one pyramid. To transport such massive weight, neither animals of that time could help, nor did they have proper vehicles. Even today, modern transport companies would charge huge amounts for such a job. Amazingly, the ancient Egyptians transported these stones using boats, yes. Between Tura and Giza runs a branch of the Nile River, and the builders took full advantage of it. Large boats were loaded with stones and sailed to the pyramid site. Experts believe this job was nowhere near easy. Loading and unloading such massive blocks must have required at least 500 workers working together at the same time. Challenge number 5. The expert teams researching the construction of the pyramids had found answers to many of their questions, but one question still troubled them constantly. The limestone had been cut, transported, and placed layer by layer during construction. But the biggest question remained: how were the stones lifted to such great heights? Many experts believe that the method was planned even before construction started. The stones were either pulled up using a spiral ramp around the pyramid or through a zigzag ramp. But one thing is certain: stones weighing 50,000 kilograms were pulled upward by an army of workers. Challenge number 6. The work wasn't just about thousands of workers cutting limestone with chisels and hammers or transporting massive blocks. Inside the pyramid, compartments, passageways and small tunnels had also been created. All of that made sense, but one thing shocked the experts. The stones used inside the main chambers were not limestone. They were granite. Granite is one of the hardest stones on Earth, second only to diamond. Even today, in the modern era of high-powered machines, granite cannot be cut without heavy industrial grinders. Archaeologists from all over the world were brought to the pyramid, yet none could explain how, 4,500 years ago, the Egyptians had cut granite so cleanly. Finally, after many years, experts solved this mystery too. The Egyptians cut granite using a saw that had no teeth. Yes, an entirely toothless saw. Weights were added on both ends of the saw, and it was moved back and forth over the granite, while sand or crushed stone, abrasive grit, was poured in between. Experts believe that cutting a single massive granite block using this method could take up to 4 months. And now the final questions. Why were the pyramids built? How many workers built them at the same time? And when the robotic camera drilled through the stone slab inside the Great Pyramid, what did it see on the other side? A site hidden for 4,500 years. All of this and much more you will learn in part 2 of this video. Thank you very much for your love, comments and likes. We'll meet again in the next exciting part of the video.